From the golden days of Pelé and Garrincha to the artistry of Romario, Zico, Ronaldo Nazario, and Ronaldinho, Brazil has always been known as the land of attackers. For decades, the world has watched in awe as Brazilian strikers and wingers dance through defenses, scoring goals that have defined generations and lifting trophies that made history. Now, as the 2026 World Cup edges closer, one big question rises again. Can Brazil's current attacking lineup bring the long-awaited Hexa, a sixth World Cup trophy, back home to Rio de Janeiro? Let's find out. Football, at its heart, is a game of goals. No matter how complex the tactics, no matter how well-organized the defense, at the end of the day, the team that scores more goals wins. And in this area, attackers carry the heaviest responsibility. That's why, in football, strikers and forwards have always been the brightest stars. When the team is Brazil, that spotlight shines even brighter. Every time Brazil has lifted the World Cup, attackers have been at the center of the story. Pelé's magical goals in 1958 and 1970, Garrincha's dribbles in 1962, Romario's brilliance in 1994, Ronaldo's redemption in 2002, and Ronaldinho's unforgettable flair in the early 2000s. These moments show us why Brazilian attackers are not just players, but national heroes. For decades, Brazil's football philosophy was built less on rigid tactics and more on individual brilliance. While European teams focused on system and structure, Brazil trusted the flair, creativity, and instinct of their forwards. That's why so many legendary attackers have come out of this nation, and why the world still expects Brazil's front line to deliver magic every tournament. Looking ahead to 2026, Brazil is once again blessed with a powerful front line. If we imagine the first choice lineup today, it might look like this. Vinícius Júnior on the left wing, Raphinha on the right wing, Pedro as the number 9. That's already a world-class attack, capable of breaking down any defense in international football. But here's the scary part for Brazil's opponents. The squad doesn't stop there. Brazil's bench is loaded with talent, and the options available to coach Carlo Ancelotti are staggering. Of course, no discussion of Brazil's attack is complete without mentioning Neymar. The former Barcelona and PSG superstar remains one of Brazil's greatest ever forwards, but his future with the national team is uncertain. Injuries have slowed him down, and debates rage about whether he should return to lead the attack one more time, or whether Brazil should fully turn the page and embrace the new generation. It's true, without Neymar, the team loses a unique level of creativity and flair. But it's equally true that Brazil is no longer dependent on one man. The options they have now mean that even if Neymar does not return, the Selecao will still field a dangerous, unpredictable, and versatile attack. Let's take a closer look at some of the attacking talents fighting for a place in Brazil's frontline. Luiz Henrique. The Zenit winger impressed in the last World Cup qualifiers, showing speed, directness, and the ability to create chances. His national team stats are promising, and his style of play has already won fans. Gabriel Martinelli. Arsenal's hard-working winger brings energy, pressing, and sharp finishing. He provides another excellent alternative on the left, competing with Vinicius for minutes. Estevao, the teenage sensation from Palmeiras, soon joining Chelsea, is rapidly becoming part of Brazil's senior squad. Known as Messinho, Estevao combines flair with maturity far beyond his age. He could become one of the breakout stars in the coming years. Rodrygo, already a proven Champions League performer with Real Madrid, Rodrygo can play across the front line, but he especially shines on the right wing. His intelligence and clutch finishing make him a dangerous weapon. Savio, another exciting young winger who adds to Brazil's depth. With his dribbling ability and pace, he could surprise many opponents. Joao Pedro, the Brighton striker, is emerging as a strong candidate for the number 9 role. His movement, finishing, and adaptability make him a real challenger to Pedro for the starting spot. Matheus Cunha, a versatile forward who brings energy and pressing. He may not be the most clinical striker, but his ability to stretch defenses is valuable. Richarlison, Brazil's top scorer at the 2022 World Cup, Though his club form has been inconsistent, he has always delivered for the national team when it matters. Ko Jorge and Leonardo, young strikers who are pushing hard for recognition, representing the new wave of Brazilian forwards. Put all of this together, and you realize something important. Brazil doesn't just have one or two world-class attackers. They have an army of them. Some say Brazil can only win through individual brilliance. That might sound like a weakness, but in football, matches often change in a single moment. A solo dribble, a stunning strike, a quick flash of genius. And in that sense, the more stars you have in your attack, the more chances you have of producing those game-changing moments. With Vinícius Júnior's dribbling, Raphinha's pace, Rodrygo's finishing, Pedro's presence in the box, and the unpredictability of young players like Estevao, Brazil's attack is built to create chaos for opponents. Defenses won't know who to double mark, because danger can come from anywhere. If we look at World Cup history, attacking players often lead teams to glory. David Villa in 2010 for Spain, Miroslav Klose in 2014 for Germany, Kylian Mbappe for France in 2018, and of course Lionel Messi for Argentina in 2022. All of them were attackers who carried their nations on the biggest stage. For Brazil, this story is even stronger. Every one of their 5 World Cups has been defined by forward stepping up. Pelé in 1958, Garrincha in 1962, Romario in 1994, Ronaldo in 2002. The list goes on. If Brazil is to win again, it will almost certainly be because their attackers light up the tournament. Of course, with such history comes pressure. Vinícius Júnior and Raphinha are not just playing for themselves. They're carrying the weight of legends like Ronaldo and Romario. But that pressure can also be a source of motivation. Every Brazilian attacker grows up dreaming of scoring in a World Cup final, of being the hero who brings the Hexa home. And in this squad, there are multiple players who could step into that role. For Brazil's rivals, preparing to face this attack is a nightmare. Do you double mark Vinícius and risk leaving space for Raphinha? Do you push defenders forward and risk Pedro or Joao Pedro getting in behind? Do you try to press high, knowing Rodrygo and Estevao can exploit the gaps? No matter the strategy, Brazil has the tools to break it down. And that unpredictability is what could make them unstoppable in 2026. So here's the big question. Will this incredible attacking depth finally deliver Brazil the World Cup title they've been chasing since 2002? The ingredients are all there. Youth, experience, flair, versatility, and most importantly, that unique Brazilian attacking DNA that has always lit up the world stage. For Brazil, it's time for the next generation to step out of the shadows of Pelé, Romario, and Ronaldo and create their own legacy. If Vinícius, Raphinha, Pedro, Estevao, and others can rise to the occasion, then the long wait for Hexa might finally come to an end. One thing is certain. With this attack, Brazil will not just play football. They will entertain, inspire, and remind us once again why the world calls them the kings of the beautiful game.